What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just web series. We're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 53. And before I begin talking about these big updates that I have for you guys, I gotta give Twitter shoutouts. Twitter shoutouts go to Aled Evans, Ghost Riley 14, Mindblock 7, Tokusatsu DX, Santa Jr., Dragbot 25, Josie Fields, Kiryu D. Seraph, Dylan Walker, and also Juan Flores. Thank you so much for following me. If you are following me on Twitter, I really appreciate it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @RaginNation, and just like I said before in a previous episode, it is the best way to get in touch with me. If you want to contact me, if you want to chat and communicate, I am most proactive on Twitter. So let's talk about the filming of Transformers last night, and production in Arizona should be wrapping up pretty soon. Next week they will be filming in Detroit, and they've actually been in Arizona since last Monday. They started filming last Monday, so essentially they've been there for just like maybe 11 days, a little bit over 11 days. But anyways, they've been filming a lot of exciting stuff over there. We got to see a lot of the vehicles and the Autobots, the Decepticons, and actually I'm sure you guys have noticed a lot of the local news outlets got a hold of the fact that they're filming right there in Arizona, and a lot of reports went out there, and because of that, a lot of the fans went out there to go get some photos and maybe some short videos, and I think that's awesome. I think it's great that a lot of fans went out there to, check it out with their own eyes, to check out the production of the next installment in the live-action Transformers franchise. But I have a message for you guys should you decide to go out there and check out the filming. First of all, I want to say that it's awesome that you're doing that, but secondly, and most importantly, do it responsibly. If you are going to go out there and get some photos and get some videos, do it at a safe and responsible distance. Most importantly, responsible. Shoot it from a distance, get your zoom lens out there, and do all the filming and photography that you want, but don't get up too close. They have security and they will confiscate your camera. That is a warning. So if that happens, that's gonna really suck. Another thing is that I actually found out that or rather, I read that there's some fans that thought it would be a good idea to fly a drone over to production. I think that's a really bad idea. That's just not smart, because people are working. There are professionals out there that are doing their thing. Let them work. By flying a drone over to production, that's being disruptive. And I know that you might find it amusing to get that kind of footage and get all the likes on social media, but still, that is very disruptive, because first of all, drones make a lot of noise, and secondly, you're entering the same airspace that is shared by aerial photography, like helicopters that are filming stuff, and maybe some other aerial vehicles that could be used for the filming. You don't want to be sharing the same airspace, because you're going to be causing a safety hazard. Because, what if it hits the drone, and that's going to be a big problem. So please don't do that. I know something like that can be really exciting, but be smart and be responsible, okay? So I just got to get that off my chest. Let's talk about what exactly have they been filming out there in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, there's been a lot of driving, a lot of car chases. And I say car chases just because in one shot we see the Autobots, like Bumblebee, Hound, the Jeep with the human driver. It could be a hologram driver, but at the end of the day, it's still a human driver. And then in another shot, we see military vehicles, which are followed by Decepticons. So what you see here is just a lot of driving. It's being done in a plain desert open field. So something tells me that this is a pretty big car chase scene. And I want to give a big shout out to Instagram user Starfly13, because she actually posted a very short video of some of the filming that has been going on out there. Let's take a look at this. It says right here, "Dope to see and hear film being made in your own neighborhood." A bunch of hashtags. "Video quality sucks. This was taken from my Snapchat Stay Fly Hair." Now, you don't see very much over here, but the key word that I was interested in is that she got to hear the film, okay, or hear the filming taking place. So I decided to comment and say, what kind of sounds were you hearing? Was it machine gun fire? And she responded with helicopter and noise from cars. So when she says helicopter, I'm pretty sure it's an aerial photography chopper, which, you know, they get aerial filming done, all right? So I didn't think it was anything more than that. And another thing is that she said a lot of noise from cars. So what I gather from that is that a lot of these vehicles are making a lot of noise. Could be a car chase, but there wasn't any actual pyrotechnics going on as far as I know from what she said. No machine gun fire. There wasn't explosions going off. If there was explosions going off, I'm pretty sure somebody would have caught that. So it just appears that it's just a lot of driving that's going on in Arizona. And I think that there's a big car chase that takes place in the filming. So who knows what's going on, but it really tells you that nothing really major in terms of any military combat going on, all right? Moving on, we got to talk about the military. There's a huge military vehicle presence. Not so much a human military presence, but definitely a huge military vehicle presence over at the filming in Arizona. And one of those vehicles that we see a lot of is this one. It's a huge military transport, and I just found out that it's actually called an HEMTT, also pronounced Hemet, from Oshkosh, the same company that produced, or rather manufactured, Hound. Hound is an Oshkosh tactical defense vehicle. Well, these vehicles right here, the Hemets, are actually, it's an abbreviation for this: Heavy Expanded Mobility Tactical Truck. All right, so you can tell that from the name that this is a heavy vehicle, and also it's some kind of transport, and it says expanded mobility tactical truck. So maybe something underneath all that that cover, maybe it expands somehow. I don't know. If you want to know more about the vehicle, you can Google it, but it is called a heavy expanded mobility tactical truck, and it's from Oshkosh. Now, what's really, really interesting is that, just like I said before, there have been no military personnel of any kind. There have only been just the vehicles seen. So, you know, that kind of tells you something. Okay, here's something even more interesting. Check this out. Now, this was tweeted to me from one of my Twitter followers. This is from Ghost Rally 14, and I'm just going to read you the comment right here. I just saw a pic of that upside down V on those vehicles for TF5, and the pic had the word nest under it. Mind blown. So those vehicles, those military vehicles, as you can see, have the upside down V, which represents Allied forces. But I've never seen the photos myself, but he claims that the upside down V, underneath it says nest. And of course, nest refers to the tactical team that was that we got introduced to in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And these are human forces that are out there to take out Decepticons, okay? And we saw them once again in Transformers of the Dark of the Moon. It looks like they are back, or at least their vehicles are back, because we saw them rolling out. The crazy part is that they're rolling out with Decepticons, and I'm just curious about this story. What exactly is going on here? A part of me tells me that these guys could be Decepticons. I don't necessarily think that's humans working with Decepticons, like human military. We've seen that before in Transformers Age of Extinction and Transformers Dark of the Moon, and we got humans working with Decepticons once again. So I don't think they're repeating that same type of story again. What I think is going on here is that somehow the Decepticons got control of these Nest military vehicles, and that's why they're rolling out together with Decepticons. And, you know, not only are they military vehicles, but they're Nest military vehicles. So that in itself is kind of crazy, okay? That tells you something about the story. Okay, so speaking of military vehicles, you guys got to check out this a photo of a military vehicle. Now, this is probably the Jeep, the military Jeep. I believe it's a Chevy Blazer, but it's obviously been customized to have weapons. Okay, check this out. There's an RPG mounted on the side of this vehicle. This was taken from Frosted Frenzy's Instagram account, and Frosted Frenzy is a gourmet cupcake food truck company. Okay, I guess they're doing a little bit of catering in the filming of Arizona, and that's why you see a 6-pack of cupcakes on the Jeep. But anyways, this appears to be the same Jeep that was driven by the human driver that is between Bumblebee and Hound. And I'm just curious about this weapon mounted on it, and if if this is a human vehicle, as in like the good side, like as in rolling out with Autobots, then I believe that the reason why there is a an RPG mounted on the side of it is because once again, humans working together with Autobots to take out evil forces like Decepticons, of course. And they're doing that with upgraded, weaponized vehicles. So there's a theory going out that could have been like either Cade's vehicle, because after all he is an inventor, or it could be Josh Duhamel's vehicle. Who knows? But anyways, this is a vehicle driven by humans. No word on if it is an Autobot or if it transforms in any way, shape, or form. But this is pretty awesome. Okay, moving on, let's look at some photos over that I saw from TFW2005.com, and this is a very interesting photo. This is a photo of 2 helicopters. Now, what's very interesting about this is that on the left you see a helicopter that is one of those aerial photography choppers. So they do a lot of aerial filming with this type of helicopter. You can see that there's at the very nose of the helicopter there's a camera there, but the helicopter on the right, now that's no camera chopper. That's actually a military helicopter. It's a military attack chopper called an Apache. Okay, now Apaches, they are awesome pieces of hardware. They were used in Desert Storm, and when they fired their, I think they're Hellfire missiles. But anyways, when they fire them, they just like they lit up the skies. Okay, and it looks really, really awesome. I don't know if there's any firepower going on in this scene that they're filming, but what I do know is that if this is a military vehicle, then this could be a vehicle that is flying with the other military vehicles, like the Nest vehicles, with the Decepticons. So something tells me that Decepticons have control over the grounded mobile military vehicles, as well as this Apache, and maybe they're chasing the Autobots from ground and the air. So that is something that that is going to create quite a bit of excitement. It is, after all, a really, really huge car chase from what it appears. We got like 4 Decepticons chasing down 3 good guys, Hound, Bumblebee, and the Chevy Blazer with a human driving in it, along with military vehicles joining the chase with the Decepticons, plus an Apache attack chopper. That is pretty intense. Alright, anyways, moving on, let's take another close at Hound. This photo was brought to us by Sierra Goofy Shipley on Instagram, and this is a pretty clear shot of Hound. We've seen a lot of photos of Hound, but I think this is a pretty clear shot. It appears to be, just like we said before, a Mercedes, a customized Mercedes truck, this is something that is completely different from what Hound was before. And some people might be thinking, well, look at Hound now. It looks like they compromised his size after making this change. Well, I'm going to give you another look at Hound. This photo was provided by Instagram user Cray Lauzon, and right here you can see the size difference compared to this this Jeep. I believe that's the Chevy Blazer. Look at the size of Hound compared to the Jeep. That is huge. If anybody believed or was thinking, that Hound got compromised in his size after the making the change from an Oshkosh tactical defense vehicle to a Mercedes truck, a modified Mercedes truck, you are absolutely wrong. This thing is huge. It's enormous, and it retains the sheer size and bulk that Hound needs to have for his character. So that is pretty awesome. Okay, moving on, we got to take a look at this. I'm going to call it a Junkion. I don't know if it's Scrap Heap. I don't know if it's Wreck-Gar, but it's got to be a Junkion. And this is a pretty awesome photo. These are some pretty clear photos. Here, check out this photo from transformerscars.com. Look at this. We got all kinds of junk parts. There's a loudspeaker here. There's a sleeping bag. There's an engine. There's a warhead. And let's take a look on the other side. And you can see maybe jet parts there. And you can get another look at that. You get another shot of that warhead, and then at the front there's a fuselage. I mean, that is ridiculous. That is a Junkion. That's got to be a Junkion. If it's not, then wow, what else could it be? But anyways, If it's a Junkion, then I'm just thinking this is a neutral character. It's not on the side of Decepticons, not on the side of the Autobots. And also, what I believe is going on is that this Junkion has been driving all around the world gathering parts. Why is he gathering parts? I don't know. He's some kind of scavenger looking for treasure, or maybe he uses the parts and somehow the parts from all the junk that he's gathered affects his transformation. Now, if you look back at this interview that Michael Bay did in Rolling Stone magazine, he mentioned that they were doing some visual effects tests for a dump truck transformer that transforms into a robot with a cloak. Now, I'm just thinking, why would they design a robot like this, with a cloak, if it doesn't hold some sort of significance? This character right here holds some sort of significance to the story. He's probably like some kind of like wise guy, like he knows something, alright? Or he has something. Like I said, this character has some sort of significance to the story, and I'm really curious how he's going to contribute to the story. This is a very, very interesting vehicle. The most intriguing character that we've seen so far in the production. So I'm just going to leave it up to you guys for speculation, but I personally think that this guy, he knows something, or he has something, like a physical object, maybe in his junk that the Autobots need, or maybe the Decepticons need. That's kind of typical for a lot of these films, that they need a specific object, but I think that he has it. Anyways, let's talk about another big vehicle, and that is this tow truck. Now, it's not just any kind of tow truck. It is, in fact, a Western Star tow truck. This photo is from CNJohns4 on Instagram, and you can clearly see that it has a Decepticon logo. It is a Decepticon. That is 100% confirmed. Well, what's also very, very interesting is this photo is taken from Scott Williams. Thank you very much, Scott Williams, for posting this photo. This is an excellent photo, okay? This is one of the best photos I've seen out there, just because we get to see something that really holds some sort of significance. 3 Autobot kills, 2 human kills. This shows you something about the character. This character not only keeps track of his kills, but he's also killed humans, which means that this guy's out for blood. This guy doesn't care. He's out for blood. He's a big, big, giant vehicle, and we've seen Hound keeps tracks of his Decepticon kills. Now we've seen that this Western Star tow truck does the very, very same thing, and this tells me something. This tells me that Transformers Last Night is about the one-on-one battles. This is Hound's arch nemesis. They are arch nemesi, or nemesis to each other. Hound versus the tow truck is going to happen. Okay, that's what I think, because they're both really, really big, and they both keep track of their Autobot and Decepticon kills, and that is a very, very significant thing about the characters. Now, I did mention that we're going to see one-on-one battles here, so I'm thinking that with Barricade being back, ever since like 10 years ago, Bumblebee is going to, we're going to see that one-on-one battle with Bumblebee and Barricade. We didn't really get to see that. What we saw in the first Transformers film back in 2007 was kind of like, it was kind of like a teaser. It was just a teaser for what is to come later on, and now it is later, and now we're going to see what Bumblebee and Barricade could possibly do to each other in a full-on, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, toe-to-toe brawl. So Hound and Tow Truck are gonna brawl it out. Barricade and Bumblebee are gonna brawl it out. This film is about the one-on-one battles, and it's mainly because we haven't seen a whole bunch of exotic sports cars just like we did in Hong Kong. All those exotic sports cars that we saw in Age of Extinction in the Hong Kong battle meant nothing. They ended up being all these nameless, faceless, KSI, human-made robots that meant nothing. They had no depth to the characters. At least right here we can tell that these are Decepticons that really, really stand out. So that is really, really exciting. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is Detroit. Filming is going to take place in Detroit in various locations, and I want to give a big thank you shout out to Philip Monroe in Detroit. He was just driving around, and then he saw the setup and preparation for that filming, and I'm just gonna talk about some of the things that he saw. He said that prep work is being done, and the filming is going to take place in East Side, close to Hamtramck by Mount Elliott and Palmer, and it's a pretty rundown industrial area. they will also be doing filming at the Packard plant as well, which is also a pretty rundown industrial area. And just like in a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that they will be filming in other parts of Detroit, which includes a cafe as well as a casino, amongst a couple of other locations. But anyways, the very, very exciting thing about the filming in Detroit and what Philip Monroe saw is that there are drone ships. There are drone ships there, and they were covered up. They obviously don't want the general public to see these, see these drone ships. That's why they covered them up. And if these are drone ships in Detroit, that tells us that there's going to be a hell of a battle that's going to take place on the ground and also in the air. After all, the first time we saw the drone ships was in Dark of the Moon, and then there was this big aerial chase in Age of Extinction, and now the drone ships are back and they're being filmed in Detroit. So thank you so much, Philip Monroe, for these photos. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, you know, when the filming is going on, you can get some more photos and we'll get to see more exciting stuff. Anyways, that's all I'm going to talk to you guys about. The very last photo I want to share with you guys is this photo. And what you see here is that Bumblebee is in a trailer, and then the bottom, there's a vehicle that's wrapped up, and from what you can tell from the emblem, that appears to be a Corvette. And what Corvette do we know of? That would be, of course, Crosshairs. It appears from this image here, Crosshairs is back. I cannot 100% confirm that, but you know what? It makes sense because he was the last Autobot that was a Corvette. So that leads me to talk about this question right here that was posted on a YouTube comment. Barricade came back, so Jazz can too, right? It's got 55 likes and 79 replies, and which leads me to believe that this is a very, very, I guess it's a pretty huge topic about characters coming back. Jazz, Ironhide cannot come back. I'm going to just tell you that straight out. They can't come back. Those were confirmed Autobot kills. Jazz got ripped in half. Ironhide got, you know, melted with a Sentinel Prime's rust gun. As for Sideswipe, who is the other Corvette, he can't come back mainly because, well, first of all, it is suggested that all the Autobots are dead. At the beginning of Age of Extinction, they mentioned that all the other Autobots are dead, and all that we saw in the desert was Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs, and they said that they're all that's left. So it's suggested that Sideswipe is dead, and the only other reason why I believe Sideswipe is not coming back is because of that photo right there. You see Crosshairs. Well, we don't actually see Crosshairs, but we do see a Corvette bringing Sideswipe, a Corvette concept, into this movie along with Crosshairs, which is the current model of the Corvette. That's a conflict of interest for Chevy, or GM rather, because why would you bring in this Corvette concept when you already have an existing model of Corvette that can be purchased right now? You know what I'm saying? This is the Corvette that's at the dealerships. Sideswipe is not a Corvette that can be purchased at a dealership. It's a concept vehicle, and it's conflict of interest because, well, what if those people who watch this film want to buy a Corvette? They can't buy Sideswipe. They have to settle for Crosshairs, or rather they got to settle for the 2016 Corvette. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have two Corvettes in the same movie. You just can't, and that's why I believe Sideswipe is not coming back. Not only is it suggested that he's dead, but he is just not coming back for marketing reasons. And, you know, it kind of sucks because, you know, Sideswipe is one of my favorite characters, but the fact is that he's toast. So he ain't coming back. There's already a Corvette, and there's not enough room for the both of them. So Crosshairs is back, and the big question is also, is Drift coming back? There's no word on that, and it's just really, really curious to know if he's coming back at all, and if he is coming back, why is he separated from the rest of the Autobot team? So That's a really, really good question. And that's all I gotta say in this video. I definitely have more updates for you guys. Make sure you guys stay tuned. I want to leave a question with you guys, and that is, what do you think is the story with that junk truck, that Junkion vehicle out there? What is going on? What do you think your theories are? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, I talked about a lot of stuff, so there's going to be a lot more to talk about later on. So stay tuned for the next episode, episode 4. There's going to be more stuff to talk about because they will be filming in Detroit, and that's going to be really, really exciting because now they're filming in the city, alright? So that's all I got to say in this video. If you want to continue seeing more of these updates, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, like this video if you enjoyed it. I'm going to be posting more trivia on Instagram, and follow me on Twitter if you want to chat with me. And of course, the Ragin Nation Facebook page is a great place to be a part of, because we're engaging in all types of Transformers discussion as well as movie discussion. So there you have it. That's all I got to say in this video. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. 12 News, they got some footage from their helicopter, and they showed they actually filmed a lot of